Scissorhands was the first thing. Well, the first thing that I worked on that anybody had heard of was a TV series called Twin Peaks. Yeah.
It's
And
my
that was,
roommate's favorite show.
That was kind of fun. I worked on it for a day. Okay. But it was a really memorable scene. I was working on this movie called The Boyfriends, that I did a cancer makeup on an actor named Steve Gutenberg. And as I was finishing that up, Kyle MacLachlan was in that movie. And he said, "Hey, I gave your name to the producers on this TV show I was working on. They want an age makeup done on me for this one scene. And I told them I'd like to have you do it." Cool. So I talked to the producers and I got a deal going with them. Got back to LA and did a test. It was so quick. I literally flew into LA and that day had to go down to Sunset Studios and do a test. So I put together everything I needed to do a stretch and stipple makeup on Kyle. Went down and did the makeup. And I want to say that David Lynch barely looked at it. He just came in and went, "Yeah, that's fine." And it was done. So there were things I wanted to change on it. I was planning on doing a life cast of Kyle when I did the makeup and do some pieces for him before I went in to do the final deal. But because David had approved it so quickly, I just thought, I don't want to change anything and throw him on the day, so I did the stipple makeup for the day. And it was, I don't know if you probably haven't seen the show, but there's a pretty iconic scene with this dancing dwarf and everything. They filmed it all
The Red
backwards.
Room?
Yeah. And the dwarf knew how to speak backwards.
Oh, I did.
He said he and his friends used to do it in school, in high school. So, yeah. So Kyle kept going, "How do I say this again?" And we'd come back and tell him, feed him his lines backwards. And so it was that scene where the dwarf is dancing around him and it was kind of weird and trippy. That was the one thing on my resume that anybody had heard of when I started doing Scissorhands. And as we're working on Scissorhands, of course, it was just nobody knew anything how it was going to be received at that point in time. But the publicity person came in, and John Price and I were the only two people in the makeup trailer, the Hands trailer. So publicity people would come in and we'd have to do interviews and talk to them about the hands and how they were constructed and blah, blah, blah. And inevitably, I told John, I said, somebody's going to come in and ask, "Have you worked on anything that I might have heard of?" And I said, "Doesn't it just figure that the one thing that I've worked on that nobody has heard of is something I did one day on, or half a day on, because they shot the makeup and I took it off and went home." And that, sure enough, is what happened. Both of us, the publicity person said, "So what have you worked on that I've heard of?" And John and I just burst into laughter. We went, "What?" I said, "Well, I did a day on Twin Peaks." "Twin Peaks? Tell me about that." Like, No. It's not worth talking about. Quickie one day makeup. Oh, it's getting close. The movie with Steve Gutenberg was, you would know him maybe if you saw old 80s movies, like, what was that one? Him and Tom Selleck and another guy. I don't know. I didn't work on that. He was in a movie called Cocoon, which is really cool.
Great movie.
Yeah. But he played in the movie I was doing. He played a guy who had Hodgkin's disease, recovers from Hodgkin's disease, and was complaining about his love life. His sister, played by Shelley Long, is a romance novelist. So she says, "I can get girls for you. Just let me turn into a character from one of my romance novels." So that's what she proceeds to do in the movie. And he adopts a New Zealand accent because nobody knows what a New Zealand accent sounds like anymore. And so we're at the airport, and we're getting on our plane. And as we walk through the airport, people are kind of stopping. "Are you?" Yes, taking pictures and that kind of stuff. And I said, you know, if you want to just skate all this stuff and get to the plane faster, just do the New Zealand accent and tell him you're not him. So he did that a couple of times. He said, you're going to get a windstorm when the movie comes out. Okay, now I can do this. You've all done plaster bandage before. Sorry. Throwing up dust. So I'm going to do this 4 layers at a time, because why not? Rub it around to activate all the plaster. So it's not quite drippy. It's a good, clean, reinforced edge around the bottom. Because I didn't screw at this too much, it doesn't have very many lumps and divots in it, so it's easier to get the plaster bandage to conform to it.
So are you doing 4 layers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that little stretch there, I folded the edges, the edge pieces, so it's 8 layers around the edge, give a little extra reinforcement. And this will make it 8 layers on top, because I have that pesky little spot. Project board, another little plate, something boards.
Like one of these?
Yeah, precisely.
So you want to make it flat on the top?
Yeah, I'll make it flat on the top so that when I flip it over and I'm filling it with the urethane, it'll stand up by itself. Like a bowl. Yeah, and you want your molds for the prosthetics to be sort of shaped like a bowl, to hold excess material as you pour it the prosthetic and squeeze the positive and negative together. So here you go. I'll pull this apart in a little bit, but you can start by getting alginate out. Okay, there's alginate right down here.